Welcome to Professor SNAB, where we aim to make A-level biology as simple as a cell. So today we are once again looking at topic 1, this time focusing on water, the molecule. So let's begin. So water has a certain number of special properties that make it such an important molecule when it comes to biological processes. So some of these are, it makes metabolic processes possible. It has a very high heat of vaporization, a high heat capacity, and cohesive properties, and it is useful as a solvent. So now looking at the structure of water individually, like the atoms, the molecule, the oxygen atoms are slightly negatively charged, and the hydrogen in water are slightly positively charged. So we are right now leaning towards the chemistry behind the water molecule. And this polarity of water means that the positively charged hydrogen atom is attracted to the negatively charged oxygen atom of another water molecule. And if you've done GCSE science or any science, science in general, you would know that opposite charges attract. And now this is called hydrogen bonding, this bonding between oxygen and hydrogen. And this hydrogen bonding enables condensation and hydrolysis reactions to take place, hence enabling metabolic reactions to take place. So water is used in hydrolysis reactions to break down polymers. So this is when long chains, polymers are long chains of smaller molecules, and it it breaks down through the process of hydrolysis, which is basically the addition of water. And then water is produced during condensation reactions. This is when two or more molecules join together to form a chain, and then the end result is a water molecule leaves as one of the products. Okay, so water is also reactant in both photosynthesis and respiration. So now you'll start to see that this is a very important molecule, and these special properties make it really useful in such important processes that we need to survive on this planet as organisms. Hydrogen bonding makes it difficult to separate water molecules from each other. This means a lot of energy is needed for it to evaporate. This gives water the property of high heat of vaporization. If water had a low heat of vaporization, living organisms would not have survived because the water cycle would have been disrupted by all bodies of water boiling too fast and easily. Water has a high heat of capacity. This is the amount of energy needed to change temperature by 1 degree. So it takes a long time to heat and cool, which means heat can be evenly dispersed in warm-blooded animals. Water is a good solvent, and this is because polar molecules can easily dissolve in it due to the polarity. So what is this polar molecule? So polar molecules or compounds are things that are held together by ionic bonds. So what are ionic bonds? Ionic bonds is the bond that holds oppositely charged atoms together. For example, salt. What is salt made of? Salt is made of sodium and chlorine, right? And they are held together by ionic bonds. So water being a good solvent comes in the way between these ionic bonds and forms bonds with, like in this case, if you look at the example of salt, it makes separate bonds with the sodium and the chlorine, which means these ionic bonds are disrupted and resulting in this in salt, in this case salt, compounds and molecules being dissolved in water, which is why water is a good solvent. And now finally, water has a strong cohesive force. This is the attraction between water molecules due to hydrogen bonds, and this helps in the transpiration of plants. Before we look into this exam question, I kind of wanted to highlight another property of water. It is the adhesive forces of water. So what are these adhesive forces? This is the force that attracts water to other surfaces. For example, if you spill water on glass, for example. The water spreads out over the surface, right? And this is because water has weak adhesive forces with this glass, this piece of glass. But then if you spill water on a leaf, right? So if you spill water on a leaf, like small bits, small drops of water, for example, what happens is the water sticks to the leaf as droplets. So if you add what's it called? If you like, I mean, what you can do on this leaf is you can join different drops of water together to make bigger drops, basically. But you can't do that with glass. And this is because the adhesive forces between water and a leaf are stronger than the adhesive forces between water and a glass, like a sheet of glass. And you can see similar results with water and wax paper, for example. You can make these bigger droplets from smaller droplets of water. And this is because of these strong adhesive forces that water has with the wax paper. So I hope that's a good explanation of what adhesive forces are. And now let's look at the exam question on water. So explain how the properties of water make it an ideal transport medium. Water is a solvent because the polar nature of the water molecules surround other polar molecules and form hydrogen bonds between the solute. Once again, this point refers to the explanation I was giving about why water is a good solvent. And then the second point is water is also a liquid at room temperature, so the cohesion of water molecules can flow and transport easily. So a question like this would be a 2-marker. And this is a good example of what kind of questions you could be asked about water. So that is all from Professor SNAB today. Hope this has been useful and it has answered most of your questions on the topic of water. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share this to anyone else who might find this useful. And thank you. Hope you have an amazing day.